Okay, Lew, we've got 12 minutes, so let's do it.
Let's do it.
What does New Relic do?
New Relic's the leader in software analytics. So we collect billions of metrics from software systems in real time to tell our customers what they're doing, companies like Airbnb or Uber or Nike. And we're measuring everything that's going on in that software in real time, and those measurements are essential to making your software work well and delight your customers.
And why should people care?
Well, to me, there's nothing more important in this planet than time. Time is the most valuable asset we have. And people are spending more time than ever in front of software. In fact, eMarketer surveys show that people are spending 6 hours a day in front of software on a mobile device or desktop or laptop. So if your most valuable asset's being spent in front of software, let's make those moments matter. Let's make them more delightful, enjoyable. Because life's too short for bad software. You know, life's too short for software that crashes or is way too slow or is just poorly designed and hard to use. Especially in enterprise software, our space, I think, is plagued with a lot of poor quality software. So New Relic's mission is to help people who build software deliver more delightful moments in front of that software.
That's interesting. I've been covering this space for a long time. There's more data than ever.
Right.
And people have access to so much, but it's very hard to sift it down, understand it. You've got a phrase, you want people to understand the data that the story's trying to tell them.
Yeah.
How important are stories behind the data, and what does that give a business?
Well, one way to think about it is, every company's software is now the primary way in which a consumer or a customer interacts with that company, right? So 10 years ago, when I did my banking, I'd walk into a bank, I'd wait in line, and I'd deposit a check, and I'd talk to a teller, right? Now when I do my banking, I take a picture of a check with my phone. And so if you think about how every business, in order to survive and thrive, must know its customer, how does a business know its customer if they're not actually personally interacting with them anymore? The customer interaction is going entirely through software. That's where New Relic comes in. We see every New Relic, every customer interaction going on through the software, and therefore we can measure whether that's a good customer experience. And if you're not measuring your customer experience, then you don't know your customer, your business is going to fail. And so that's why we say that your software is telling you stories, it's telling you about your customers, and that's essential to creating a company that actually can thrive and grow.
You put a lot of emphasis on visualization, the way the data looks, and how it looks can make it, if it's designed well, much easier to interpret.
Yes. I mean, this is a super hard problem. You know, the amount of data we're collecting, we collect over 3 trillion data points a month from our customers' software, measuring everything that goes through, you know, these big websites like Airbnb, as well as small startups. Many of them are probably in this room. And so how do you make sense of all that is a super hard problem. It's something that I've been personally working on through 2 companies now. I started the first company in this space in '98. And I'd say, because we're an enterprise software company, most enterprise software companies aren't thoughtful enough about the design, the presentation of the data they collect, and the ease of use of their software. New Relic is very different in that way. You know, if you look at my office in headquarters, the closest person who sits to my office is the lead designer of the company. You know, the president of my company is a little bit further down, my CFO is a little further down, but the person I want most in earshot is the lead designer of the company, because, you know, that's our software, and we need to deliver great customer experience and make it so that our customers are spending their time effectively in front of our software. So I think it's easily overlooked for enterprise companies, but it's essential to actually succeeding in 2014 in enterprise software.
There's often a cultural difference between, say, the chief information officer and the marketing and the design team.
Yeah.
Anywhere. How do you manage that potential conflict?
Well, I think another trend that is really fascinating is how businesses are using digital. They're playing offense with software development, not defense. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, playing defense with software is automating things or reducing costs, order processing, back-end stuff, to just kind of make the operations of your business a little more efficient. And that's kind of the IT software products of the 90s and early 2000s. But now businesses are saying, I can totally change my top line through software. Let me give you a great example. In the San Francisco 49ers, very popular football team in the US, they're becoming a software company as well as a football team. You actually, when you go into the stadium to watch a football game with your phone, you can order food straight to your seat. You can see how long the restroom lines are. You can see instant replays and all the stats of your favorite player, all with this mobile app. So you can forget your wallet when you go to a football game, but don't forget your phone, right? So basically, they're not thinking about automating things or payroll management. When they think about developing software, they're thinking, how can I make the experience of watching a football game 20% better? And that's applying to every business and every vertical. And so I think, you know, some people think of that as the Chief Digital Officer initiative. Some people think it's the role of modern IT. I'm not sure it necessarily matters where it sits organizationally, but I think it's very important for companies to think offense with their software. How can my software fundamentally grow the top line? And that's, you know, New Relic helps by helping people measure the effectiveness against those top line goals.
What about the worry that by focusing on the top line, the traditional view of using automated systems to save money on the bottom line is going to be put in jeopardy?
Oh, I think there's a place for both. There's most definitely a place for both. I'm just excited about creating new things, not kind of reducing how many pennies per hour this particular operation takes. That's important. Every business must drive a P&L. But I love creating software. I love working with people who create software. I think this room is filled with a lot of people who think that software can create totally new categories of products that can change companies. And you know, those are the people at New Relic is best suited to really help be successful.
I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how it's a San Francisco company, but
Yeah.
you're becoming more and more global.
Yes.
You've got an office in Dublin.
Yes.
You just bought a firm, a small firm in Spain, I believe,
Yes.
in Barcelona, called Duxboard. Can you talk a little bit about this Duxboard acquisition and how you're gearing yourself to go beyond the US and go global?
Sure, and we already are a global company in terms of the customer base is very broadly distributed throughout the world. I think our first international customer a paying customer came within a month of first launch in 2008, so we've always been a global company. But this Duxboard acquisition we just made is very exciting for us. In fact, I was just in Barcelona just prior to this and met the Duxboard team. This is a small but incredibly talented group of individuals who've built a high-level dashboard that can present data from all sorts of software as a service data sources. So they can present data from Twitter and Salesforce and Zendesk and GitHub and Google Analytics and New Relic all in one place. So you've got one dashboard to look at the whole big picture. And if you think about New Relic's mission of software analytics, of presenting just the right information about your software to make decisions that can help make your business successful, imagine if we're integrating that with the top 65 software as a service applications, you know, like Zendesk and Salesforce, all in one place. I think it positions us to actually be one of the handful of companies that truly have a global impact for decades, and that's our aspiration.
You talked about storytelling with data and great visuals and design as a way to present data in the way that can be really useful. Can you talk a little bit about about industry verticals and how software needs to be flexible as well in order to be able to have insight into your own industry and company? Yeah,
you know, this is pretty fascinating to me, how virtually every vertical is being fundamentally transformed by software. In your business of media, that's one of the strongest verticals we have. Obviously, every media company is taking very strategic steps to see how software can be at the foundation of the future of media. You know, who would have thought that a sports team would be thinking about how software changes them? I've just used the banking example, like, you know, the customer interaction is no longer in a physical branch, it's actually over the phone. And so there isn't a vertical that doesn't have a desperate need to understand what the customer is doing through the software. And that's why we've got pretty horizontal play. But I'd say that the verticals that are most showing the most interesting growth for us are media and gaming. Obviously, a huge amount of time people are spending playing games, and measuring what people are doing in the games, what are the most effective moves or items that people use in a game, or any kind of data to help make gaming companies more engaging to their customers. Very, very powerful stuff.
Walt Disney is, the Disney company, Disneyland, is doing something similar with
yes.
their website. They had one of the first wearables.
The Magic Band.
Yes,
there's this incredible Magic Band technology that will, when you walk into the theme park, as I understand it, you know, it's got data about where you are, what you want to see, how long the lines are, and it's like wearable technology that will fundamentally improve your experience in the theme park. So remember, I said the most important thing we have on this planet is time. If you've only got like 6 hours in the theme park before your 2-year-old starts to melt down and it's time to go home, the less time you're spending waiting in line, the more time you're spending in front of, you know, Bambi or whatever. You know, that's valuable to you. So technology is changing. You know, it's bringing back more valuable moments to people, and we're very excited about what Disney is doing there.
Well, thank you for your time. New Relic is making, there is too much bad software. I've been covering this area for a long time. New Relic is one of the companies, just objectively speaking, that's turning very complicated information into something clear and understandable, and in some cases fun to play with and understand. So thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you all.